Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and today I'm making some Christmas tags for my holiday gifts. I'm using some printables today. You can do this project with any double-sided cardstock as well as any ephemera that you have on hand. I am using my Christmas Fairies journal card kit, my Holiday Queen journal card kit, and my Holiday Dream journal card kit. All three of these kits come with double-sided paper. I'm going to show you that. There we go. And I got a little ahead of myself when I was cutting this up. I've trimmed everything up. I've cut out the small version of the tags. I've printed the paper, both sides. Everything is on cardstock. And I've gone ahead and trimmed the edges off of my main paper and cut it in half. Now, my measurements are going to work out pretty nicely for these. It ended up being cut in half and then I can fit 3 across. So I'm going to trim this into thirds. You might need to do some measuring if you're using other ephemera because you'll want things to fit nicely. I am trimming these with enough room for a journal card, and then I'm also using these gift tags. I have this in my shop as well. Everything will be linked in the description down below. But I wanted room to add a gift tag to each of these larger tags. So your measurements may vary, but eyeballing it is just fine. So I'm just going to trim these up really quickly. I've cut out all the other ones. Each of these comes with 2 different pattern papers. So I've printed one pattern on the front and one pattern on the back, and then measured everything out to make sure I was getting even halves and thirds. I don't usually measure, but here we are. All right, so I have all of my pieces. And the first thing I'm going to do is just pick some and lay them out. Now I've got 2 sides to choose from when I'm looking at these, so that's fun. I can kind of mix and match what I want. So let's do a couple from each kit. How about the harp? I like how that looks with that little bit of music coming through. And then I'll pick a gift tag to go with it. Maybe this bird. That's pretty. And I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just looking to kind of pair things up and dry fit it before I do the decorating. Let's see. I think I want maybe some candy canes on this one. Bring these over so you can see them. There, I like that. So I'm just going to go through. Let's do 2 from each. And then I'll probably make some more at some point. But this will be a good start. I like her. So this one has like the holly berries on one side and music notes on the other. And let's flip to the other side for the next one. Is there a gentleman? How many gentlemen do we have? Let's do this guy. That looks nice. And for my final set, oh, forgot my gift tags. How about a candle for her? And maybe a bird for this guy. There we go. And then one last set. I've got this really pretty damask pattern. And then a snowflake pattern here. So I'll grab a couple of these. And let's find a couple of queens to go on there. Let's see. Well, I like her on this light background. And who else do I have? I like her. She's beautiful. All right. Couple of 2 from labels. I like that one. Oh, the green will be pretty. And there we go. I'm going to put everything else off to the side. And now I've got all of my tags here to work with. Let's see if I can fit them all in the camera. There we go. So you can kind of do top and bottom. It's not really a big deal how you want to arrange these. The main thing is a picture and a gift label on each one. Let's just kind of do one up, one down for each one. Get a variety in. Now I'm going to start preparing these for decoration. The first thing I'd like to do is around the corners. I've got a corner rounding punch here. I'm probably going to use the medium setting, and I'm just going to grab, see if I can get a hold of this guy here. Grab this back card and around all the corners. This is optional. You don't have to do this. I think it gives it a really nice finished look. I'm going to do that for all of these as well as the journal cards. You can play with this and just round some of the corners. You can round all of the corners. You can do opposite corners, whatever you like. And then you can round none of the corners. That's also an option. And then I'm going to grab my vintage photo distress ink and I'm going to make all of these edges pop. And I'm going to do this for all of my cards. All right, so everything is inked up and the corners are rounded. I did vary them just a little bit. This one I just rounded the top corners. This one I did opposite corners, just so you can kind of see how just playing with that one tool can create some different looks. I did all the corners on these and then a couple others, I left the corners sharp. Now it's time for the fun part, the decorating. So I've got quite a few things on my table just left over from other projects. I've got scraps of paper, scraps of mulberry paper, some paper doily, a little cheesecloth. And what else do I have? I have some lace that kind of didn't work out very well for another project. I'll just trim that off. I've got all kinds of lace. I've got some pins that I might use, some mulberry paper from my Christmas junk journal that I tore up. So I've got a lot of things going on here. So let's get this one over here. I'm going to start with the harp. And this is just like making a junk journal. So you're just going to start looking for elements that work for you and create a little bit of interest. So little doily there just for some texture. I'm going to leave room at the top to punch a hole. Get my tag on there. I did ink the edges of these gift tags as well. And let's see what else I have on hand. All right, I hit my stash up and I think this is definitely a project that can use some sequin. So let's grab a little bit of that. I want something underneath that though. So how about little piece of torn mulberry paper. So I'm just going to build up layers until I have something I'm happy with. Let's add something else to that. How about some of this sage green? Got my pinking shears here, my latest favorite tool. There we go. A little bit of green. Now I've got just a little texture. I almost want something to hang down there. There's this empty space that can be decorated, and I feel like I want to add something there. So I'm going to go and grab some lace, and I've got some red here. So let's see how that looks. If I cut a piece of that off, or if that's going to be too bright. Everything gets to pinking shears. So if I put a little ribbon hanging down, little cluster, I think that's pretty cute. I am just going to go with that. So at this point, I know what I want to do, so I'm going to glue that all down. I am using Beacon Fabri-Tac because it dries super quickly and it's just one of my favorite glues. And let's see here. Let's start with this little doily piece. This is gonna be a little tricky to glue on. I'll just kind of dot it on. Right like that. And let's glue these little bits right onto the card. Oh, I had a little glue on my finger and my sequin stuck. I was just looking for a way to make my packages fancier this year, and I was like, I should just make some gift tags. I make all this other stuff. I should make some gift tags this year. And so here we are. Now we're all making gift tags together. A little dot for the sequin. All right, now we can line everything up. So I want to leave a space at the top so I can add some hanging ribbon. So let's put this on first. I'm going to glue that down really well so so it doesn't catch on anything. I just assume that gifts are going to travel in some way, shape, or form. You don't want them to get all messed up. And then same thing on this. Right around the edges, a little bit in the middle. Try to center that up. So I ended up looking at this and I changed my mind. We're allowed to change our minds, and I don't like the sequin on there. I don't think it's bold enough. I don't think it's giving me enough impact. So I have grabbed, let's throw some glue down, grabbed a button. Let's try this brown button instead, and I like that a lot better. So I'm gonna put my sequin to the side. Boop. I could have put a little bow or something through that button, but I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. So there we go. Now, so next, I think I'm gonna add a eyelet to the top of this. I have a bunch of different eyelet colors here. Let me see, do I want a red eyelet? Perhaps. I think that draws the red around really nicely. I have a backer, and I will link all the supplies I'm using today in the description down below as well. And I'm going to grab my crocodile, and I'm going to punch a hole and add the eyelets. And I went ahead and did that off camera because it involves a lot of shaking the table and standing up for me. So there's my eyelet. And this one is basically done. It's ready to go on a package. I can put my gift ribbon right through that, write my to and from on there, and we're good to go. Now that you have the basics, I'm going to go ahead and continue working on the other 5 tags I have here. I'm going to get into a whole variety of supplies, and I thought you might like to just watch and get some inspiration from what I'm doing. So for the next tag, I start with a scrap of mulberry paper, and I just glue that down right under where the gift tag is going to go. And then after attaching my Christmas Queen card, I put a little rickrack along the edge. This is a really sparkly gold rickrack. I put a little cheesecloth at the top and then a green button. I figure if it works, stick with it. So I went with kind of the same thing on this one. I finished with a bronze colored eyelet. I wish I had a green eyelet. That would have been perfect, but no green, so bronze it is. And this tag is ready to go. For the next one, I grab an offcut of music paper that I had on my table, and I'm just going to run a strip of that all the way up the middle. You're not going to see much of this in the end, but I thought it would add some layers and lighten up that background just a little bit because it felt too busy. After that, I layer some lace with the gift tag, and then after attaching my cute little fairy gentleman, I go back to those sequin and I make them work this time. I finish it off with a gold eyelet, and that's it for this tag. For this tag, I wanted to do something a little different, so I grab an antique finish bulb pin and a star charm, as well as an offcut of some vintage music paper. I'm going to put that all together to make a dangly little charm. I do need to put some vintage photo distress ink on that paper to make it stand out a bit. To secure it, I'm going to put a strip of lace at the top. This is going to overlap the image card and be under the gift label, and that way I can thread that bulb pin right into it. I finish it off with a red eyelet, but I forgot to change the setting on my crocodile and ended up accidentally punching another hole in the side of my tag instead of setting my eyelet. So I'm going to cover those up with some sequin. Nothing is a lost cause. It's not ruined. A little sequin and we're good to go. So I forgot to hit record while I was working on this one. I really simply added some dictionary book paper to the back, layered my image cards and my gift tag over the top, added a scrap of lace and green chiffon with a funky wood gray button. Going to add an eyelet to the top of this and move on to the last tag. Since I didn't record the last one, I'm going to use the dictionary paper again on this tag. So I'm just going to layer it up there with my ephemera card and my gift tag. And then up the side, you can see to the side there, I started with a cutoff strip of fabric, but I ended up switching to cheesecloth where I put a row of a button and then sequin. I finish it off with an antique eyelet, and that's it. That's all of my gift tags. I hope you've enjoyed this gift tag tutorial. I am looking forward to putting these on my gifts this year. There are links to all of the supplies that I used in the description down below, so I hope you'll go check those out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.